Welding, carpentry, and plumbing. There is a need for workers in all of these fields and others. Right now, construction and manufacturing jobs are very male-dominated. In fact, fewer than 7% of these jobs in Saskatchewan are currently held by women. And that is something our guests today would like to see change. Today on Blue Sky, we are speaking with women who work in the trades in Saskatchewan. They're going to talk about what drew them to their professions and some of the barriers that prevent more women from entering the trades. We'd love to hear from you too. If you are a woman working in one of these male-dominated trades in Saskatchewan, what has your experience been like? Give us a call, 1-800-716-2221, or email bluesky@cbc.ca. Well, it is Agribition Week in Saskatchewan, which means our first guest today is going to be very busy. Ari Dick is passionate about horsemanship, barrel racing, and her chosen career field of welding. And last year at Agribition, she was crowned Miss Rodeo Agribition. Part of her duties have included traveling across Western Canada and speaking about her career path. She's in our Regina studio right now to tell us a little bit more. Hi, Ari.
Hi.
Thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
What does it mean to you to be Miss Rodeo Agribition? Let's start there.
It means a great deal to me. I've been able to change the lives of not only other women, but just young kids in general. I've met so many young kids throughout my this past year, and no matter how much I've impacted their life, to me, it's always been about just inspiring them, and I can wholeheartedly say that I have done that with kids. I had the chance to go to a Skills Canada event, and the amount of kids there that just ran up to me and just wanted to speak to me was incredible. I didn't expect any response from my speech there, and it was so great to have a positive feedback.
What are some of the things that those kids say to you?
They ask me, can I touch your crown? That's a big one I get from a lot of toddlers and younger kids. But some of them too, what's your horse's name? Or how do you get into rodeo? How did you get into welding? And seeing kids that are in grade 7 and 8 asking me these questions about how I got into welding or how I got into barrel racing, how I got into the rodeo lifestyle. It's very nice to see because these kids are so young still. But the fact that we can influence them that young and show them that there is this whole other world out there is greatly important.
I do want to talk a little bit more about how you got into all those things in just a moment, but I'm actually really curious first. What was the competition for Miss Rodeo Agribition like?
It was definitely very hard. It tested my skills a lot. There's 4 key categories to my competition. It was horsemanship, public speaking, personal interview, and a written exam.
And what did you speak about? I guess what did you write about for some of those things?
My public speech was about women in the trades and my own experience being only 19 at the time and just out of high school stepping into the trades as a young woman. And I spoke really heavily on that. And that's what my whole entire speech was about because to me, that was very important to me. It gave the judges a chance to see another side of me that typically people really don't see. And just give the better insight and also speak on a topic that needs to be spoke about, which is having more women in trades and allowing anybody to just do whatever they want to do.
You mentioned going to classrooms, so I'm sure that's part of it. But what are some of the other duties that come along with being crowned Miss Rodeo Agribition? This isn't just like a one-time, they put the crown on and you're good to go, right? You have a lot of other things you need to do.
Yeah, so throughout the year, I spoke with a lot of kids and stuff like that, but I also got the chance to go to a bunch of rodeos. I go to all 3 Canadian professional rodeos here in Saskatchewan. I go to Alberta sometimes for rodeos. I went to the Medicine Hat rodeo there, and I do a bunch of things. I either fly the Canadian flag, I'm flying sponsor flags, or simply they just want me to do a wave lap. And then I just get to hang out, enjoy the rodeo, go talk to kids, and it's a blast.
And I hear that you came in an amazing hat that you had to take off in order to put the headphones for this interview on. But can you hold it up so that at least I can see it? And can you describe it for people? What does it look like?
So for the people who are just listening, my hat is a Smith-Built hat, and Smith-Built is one of my sponsors. So gracious to them for giving me 2 hats throughout my reign. And then on top of my hats, I have my crown, which was made by Shay Mitchell. And I actually get to keep this one because they accidentally put 2023 on it. So I actually get to keep this crown forever, and the new girl who I crowned Wednesday night, she will receive one, and then that one will be passed down.
Perfect. So a lot of the students you mentioned ask you about your own career path and how you ended up where you have. So what made you want to get into welding?
It all started in grade 9 when everybody had to try out every single PAA rotation and every single PAA class as you enter high school. And just from there, the welding instructor told me, hey, you're really good at this. Take it in grade 10. So I agreed, and I took it in grade 10. Turns out I got that welding bug. It bit me, and now I made a career out of it because I loved it, and I didn't see myself doing anything else.
What was it that you really liked about it?
The technique, how precise you have to be, really drew me to it. I'm a very precise person. I like things to be perfect. I like to explore new techniques and everything for trying a various amount of things. And to me, just how precise welding has to be, and you really have to make sure you have good fusion. You have to make sure everything's set up correctly. It's squared off. It all plays a role, and to me, I like that aspect, and it's just how I work in my own brain, I guess.
And I just want to go back a little bit. So when you talk to these high school students, and especially I'm thinking of young women, young high school girls that you've spoken about, are they interested in the fact that you're a woman working in the trades?
They are very interested in it. I have a lot of women who are younger in high school and even younger in elementary school who have reached out to me via social media, or if they see me out and about and they recognize me when I'm not all dolled up for rodeo queening, they ask me questions: how I got into the field, what did I do, where can they start, how can they get into it more? And I say the same thing: go out, apply to companies, and if you have no welding experience, there are amazing colleges out there that will teach you how to weld, and it's an amazing. They have programs. You can get scholarships and everything to help you along your journey, and it's a great place to start. Is first making sure you want to do it, and then either applying for jobs like I did right off the bat out of high school, or you can go to college and go to Sask Polytech.
Was going into a trade something that you had considered before, or were you thinking of heading down a different career path first?
I never really knew where my life was going to end up. I knew I liked welding, but throughout high school, I always wanted to work with horses and be a horse trainer and stuff like that. And I'm still working towards that goal. But I knew one thing for sure, is that university or college and getting a degree and sitting in a classroom all day just wasn't for me. I like to work with my hands, as I'm sure everybody knows at this point. But to me, I decided to follow my own heart, and I knew that route wasn't for me, and I wanted to do something completely different, and the support I had from that was amazing. And having that support really solidified where I was wanting to go with my life.
Kids aside, I'm wondering how mainly women in your own life or people that you meet on the trail react when you tell them that you're a welder.
A lot of people are shocked, especially people from older generations. They are very shocked when they find out that I'm a welder and I'm small, because I am quite tiny. I'm only about like 5'3", 5'4", I think, so I'm really small. But I like that it surprises people, because it catches them off guard, and then they're just flooded with questions for me, which I love answering questions. It's part of being a rodeo queen as well. You get to ask questions all the time, but it's nice because it's a good conversation starter as well when people find out what I do for a living.
So if you had to make a pitch, I'm sure you have to do this all the time, Ari, but if you had to make a pitch for why more women should pursue a career in either welding, but also any one of these more male-dominated trades, what would you say?
I've always preached throughout the past year that you should be allowed to do whatever you want to do. Don't let negative comments or the negative impacts of people affect you. It's your own life. No one else leads it but you. If you want to go into a trade, no matter what trade it is, do it. It's better to love doing your job and love what you're doing than not. And you're going to be more happier doing what you love to do. And that's just what I tell people every day is follow your heart. It's the best option.
I really thank you for joining us, Ari, because I know you have such a busy week. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what the rest of this week holds for you?
Yes, so I am very busy at Agrivision this week, but I'm so graciously looking forward to it. I'm soaking in every minute of it, but some places you can find me is 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, which is Tuesday. In the Branch Center is the horsemanship part of the 2025 Miss Rodeo Agribition competition, and you will get to see me. I will be setting the patterns for the 3 lovely contestants, and then as well, I believe 9 a.m., 10 a.m. at the Bud Light loading chute on Wednesday morning is the public speaking portion. So if you're in the area, come on down and support these 3 girls, because it is a terrifying process to go through. And having support like that and having random people show up and watch and support it helps a lot.
And what's next for you after Agribition? You've handed over the crown. Are you jumping back into welding full time? What's next?
Yes, I will be going back to my job full time, which my foreman is very happy about. And then I also will be sitting on my Queen committee. So I will be, throughout the next years, and every girl we crown from now on, I will be helping them throughout the year. If they have questions, if they want a travel partner, I will be that person for them. I'm kind of that support system that they have in place where they can just come to me with anything. And I will also just help schedule them for events.
Amazing. Ari, it's been a real pleasure to talk to you today, especially amidst your busy schedule. So thanks so much for taking some time.
Well, thank you again for having me. It was a great pleasure.
Ari Dick is the current Miss Rodeo Agribition, and she's also an accomplished barrel racer and is now working as a welder. I'm Candace Lipsky. You're listening to Blue Sky here on CBC Radio 1. Well, right now, construction and manufacturing jobs, they are very male-dominated. In fact, fewer than 7% of these jobs in this province are actually held by women right now. And all of our guests on the show would like to see that change. We're hearing from women who work in the trades, and we'd love to hear from you as well. If you are a woman working in one of these male-dominated trades in Saskatchewan, what has your own experience been like? You can give us a call, 1-800-716-2221, or you can email bluesky@cbc.ca. Well, we've put together a panel of women who have more than 60 years of combined experience working in the trades. Erin Norden started her career in carpentry and has spent the last couple of decades working in the Yukon in Fort Mac in Alberta and several places in Saskatchewan as well. She is now a building inspector. She's on the line. Welcome to Blue Sky, Erin.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. And Vanessa Miller spent about 20 years working as a welder as well. She is now the coordinator for the Office to Advance Women Apprentices in Regina. She's in our Regina studio. Hi, Vanessa.
Hi there.
And joining us from Saskatoon is someone who many of us will know from seeing her van around town, Leah the plumber. Leah Adelman runs her own plumbing company, and she's on the line now. Leah, welcome to Blue Sky.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to talk to all of you. And Leah, I see your vans and your signs, and I've always wondered. So here you are. It's great to have you. I want to ask you all about how you first got into your chosen trade. So I guess what drew you to this? Erin, let's start with you.
Well, I was just kind of working as a housekeeper up in the Yukon one summer, and some guy at a bar one night asked me if I wanted to help demolish a deck and told me what he was going to pay me. And I was like, oh yeah, I will do that. And I just loved it. I loved knowing how to use tools, and I was hooked.
Well, what happened? So what happened next? Did you learn from this guy, or did you go to school? What happened next?
So I worked with him all summer, building decks and little additions and stuff. And then in the fall, I went to school I took this 7-month apprenticeship program, pre-apprenticeship at the Yukon College. And by the end of that, I was pretty ready I knew how every tool worked, and I knew how to run a tape measure, and I was ready to go.
And Vanessa, how about you? What drew you into welding?
Well, I guess one of the biggest influences in my life was my dad. He's an electrician by trade, and grew up on the farm where everybody kind of did what it took to keep things going, right? So I was first introduced to welding when we were on the farm building some corral fences. I think I was like 12 maybe, and my dad trying to teach me how to run a stick welder. it didn't go very well. But then in elementary school, too, they used to have programs where you could go in and try the trades. So I actually tried the trades in grade 8 and fell in love. And welding always stuck with me as one of those ones that I thought was just super cool.
What was cool about it, I guess?
Oh, it's like lots of flames and sparks and like, yeah, you got to figure out how it feels and what it sounds like. And it's just really amazing. It's lots of people get drawn to the light.
Yeah. And Leah the plumber, what about you? How did you get into plumbing?
Well, I fell into it completely. I was 23 and I had moved back home to Southern Alberta. And I actually was taking a career course in massage therapy. I was going to be a massage therapist. I was very poor. I only owned a bike at that time. I worked at a gym. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I would open the gym. And there was an older couple there, Chuck and Linda. And Chuck was the manager of an assisted living nonprofit facility in Lethbridge. And he needed somebody to run maintenance. And I had absolutely no knowledge, no skill, nothing. And he was a phenomenal mentor. You know, we had a building and it was brand new, and he really pushed me to try to learn. And from there, I did basic carpentry, basic electrical, landscaping, and plumbing. And of those trades, I found plumbing to be the most interesting.
And what was interesting about it?
Well, I think plumbing is so vast. Like there's so many areas of things you can do. My day is never the same. I do 3 or 4 different things every single day. I have the ability to plan my own day and be responsible for how it turns out. And one of the best things at the end of this day, you get to look back and see what you've accomplished and what you can do better. Yeah.
Amazing. I have so many more questions for all of you, so stay with us. I do want to go to an email right now from Jill, who writes, I'm a Red Seal journey person electrician, and I've carried that title for the last 13 years, putting me in the construction industry for 19 years now. I wouldn't change anything about my career choice. Jill says 4 years ago, she stepped into project management and now manages commercial projects across the province and in Alberta for a local general contractor. Jill writes, working in the trades has its challenges, but is very fulfilling and rewarding. Working with your hands, building, and being part of something grand is something to be extremely proud of. She goes on to say, to any girl or woman interested in the trades, I would say go for it, know your worth, and don't be afraid to use your voice. Set boundaries early because harassment, sadly, is still prevalent in this male majority industry, but it's getting better every day. There are bad apples in any environment, and we can't let that stop us from doing what we want. There's a wonderful community of women in this province that are here to support you. Jill, that's such a nice email. Thank you so much for writing, and I'm going to talk about all those things with these lovely women we have with us. I'm Candice Lipsky, and you are listening to Blue Sky here on CBC Radio 1. We are not talking about the weather today, but if you do want to tell us about the weather, you can get in touch in the usual ways as well. But our show today is actually all about women who work in the trades, and we're talking about it because less than 7% of construction and manufacturing jobs here are held by women, and we're hearing from women who work in fields about what they do and what it would take to get more women into these roles. We'd love for you to join the conversation by calling 1-800-716-2221, or you can email bluesky@cbc.ca. And as I mentioned, if you want to tell us about how the weather or the snow is impacting your life, we'd also love to see your pictures or hear how your day is going. Again, you can give us a call, 1-800-716-2221, or you can email bluesky@cbc.ca. We have a panel of lovely women with us right now. Erin Norden is a carpenter, Vanessa Miller is a welder, and Leah Adelman runs her own plumbing company. Now, all of these fields are very male-dominated professions. So I'm wondering from each of you what it's been like navigating the space. Leah, do you want to start us off?
Sure. I feel like I've had an overwhelmingly positive experience. I've worked in small business through plumbing companies my whole apprenticeship. And I think there's maybe been some negatives, but I think Jill had emailed it correctly that happens in any industry, any career path you take. It's been an awesome career.
Vanessa, how about you? What has it been like navigating some of these, very male-dominated spaces?
Yeah, I can say overall it was a really great experience. There are still some things that come up that need to be dealt with that aren't so awesome, but there are other organizations and people to talk to too that are willing to help you navigate those things and find resources for you to help you figure out some of that stuff that's not so awesome. But overall, overcoming those challenges too helps you revel in the success a little bit more, right? Like, so learning a new skill, making a new friend, trying a new industry, whatever it is. So the persistence does pay off.
Erin, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess quite obviously that's the most tricky part of being a woman in the trades, because the work is fine. Anyone can learn how to do it. I like over the past 20 plus years in the trade, I've worked with, like, I've done like so many different jobs and worked with so many different men. And there was often usually an older guy, not always, someone that would just, take me under his wing and, had my back. Usually most of them had my back. And definitely a lot of situations where I didn't love, like, people looking at the blueprints of our daily task and turning their back to me, or, just not being encouraged, tools taken right out of my hands. Here's a broom instead. But yeah, as Vanessa said, it's really like that just makes the success more successful, feeling like you've done a big thing. And also it's kind of fun just to get a little secret peek into a man's world. Not everyone gets to go in these weird places and see these weird things. And yeah, I love working with men too. It's fun too.
I know it's we all want to focus on the positives, and I love hearing about how great most of your experiences have been. But Erin, you kind of just mentioned a few examples there, so I am wondering, like, how have you gotten through some of those difficult situations?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, it's been pretty hard at times. This one little story comes to mind of just being supported by other females. Like when I went up to work at Fort Mac, it was in a camp with over like 1,000, mostly men, probably 98% men. First time working up there, pull up to the camp and I see these buses just unloading with piles and piles of all males. I don't see any females. They're all big and burly and dirty. And I'm like, oh my God, I am not going in there. I'm sitting in my truck. And I email a friend I texted a friend who was working up there before. And she said, she's like, it's okay. They'll all be in the rooms right away. She's like, you got this. She said, chest out, chin up, get in there. And I'm like, okay. And it actually turned out to be the best. Like, I was treated really well. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, support from other females has been really great. And having this group that Vanessa runs, and we have our little get-togethers. We need support.
Yeah, Leah, how about you? How has having support from people around you experienced your work?
That's a great question. Well, I think the support has given me the opportunity to start my own business, which is not something I had planned on doing. I started Leah the Plumber when I had my daughter, and the industry that I work in is service work, so it's a little bit different than construction. And through that, the people that I've worked with, they've just been phenomenal at supporting these kind of challenges.
Now, you mentioned that you have a daughter. I know that you actually all have kids. Leah, tell us a little bit more. What's that experience been like, trying to balance being a parent with a job that might have you working, I imagine, some pretty long hours sometimes?
That is challenging, and I think that's challenging for anybody. That's probably the hardest, was trying to find daycare, find care while I was at work. I think my daughter has been in the work van with me so many times that she will not want to be a plumber. Her dad is a heavy equipment operator. She's been on those sites many, many times. I don't even think she realizes what experiences she's had as a little one. So you kind of just do what we can do to make it work.
Vanessa, what about you? How has it been balancing being a welder and having a child?
So I had my little guy right when I decided to become a welder. So I really had to lean on my supports, like my families and stuff, because childcare is always an issue. The early mornings, the long days, the shift work that comes with it. But at the same time, like you sacrifice a little to gain a lot, right? So I worked in an industry where the hours were a little more regular, and I could handle that and still get the skills training I needed and still be there for my son when I needed to. But it only came with the help of with my family, for sure.
Yeah.
When he became a little bit older, that's when I started to focus more on my career and travel more and develop my skills more and really kind of reach out. But there was just that short period of his life where I just kind of stayed home and took what I could.
Yeah. And Erin, what about you?
Yeah, that was a big issue, basically feeling like I was a single mom for a lot of my career, and they don't, like, daycares don't take kids as late as they wanted me to work, and having to find nannies and also just the feeling like right after I had my babies, like the feeling of being a mother and then going to work on a job site with like 60 men just didn't really jive so well. I mean, but the thing is, in the end, it's the money. Like, I supported my kids with this career, and I'm grateful for that. So, the wage.
Yeah, I imagine that there were men that you were working with who were parents as well, though. So, like, what was it like? Was your experience different from theirs, do you think?
Oh yeah, they had kids, but not very. I don't know a lot of single dads out there. I know a lot of single moms who are also in the trades and everywhere else. And I mean, they just didn't understand. Like when I was working out of town in Fort Mac, for instance, I was paying a nanny $100 a day and daycare on top of that to be up there. And those other guys I was working with putting all that cash right in their pockets, so it's like, okay, but whatever, I still make money.
Yeah. Erin and Leah, you do both have daughters, so I am wondering, do you think you would encourage them to pursue a career in the trades? Leah, do you want to go first?
Oh, sure. I would absolutely. If she wanted to do a trade, I would absolutely be behind that 100%. And Erin's made some really great points. Like, we've had to be really creative to come up with solutions to keep working in the trades and the requirements of time or working away.
And what about you, Erin? Do you think you would tell your daughter if she wanted to, would you support her?
Yeah. Well, like, big picture is they can do whatever they want, and seeing me working in the trades, they know that is a door that's open for them. So, like, lots of girls don't see other females doing that. So just knowing they can do whatever the heck they want to do, whether it's university or trade school.
Yeah.
But I definitely try to get them using tools so they know that they can.
Definitely a good skill to have. Erin, Leah, Vanessa, stay with us. I definitely have more questions for all of you, but I do want to go to one more guest right now. Our next guest is a carpenter and a scaffolder. Summer Wynn made the career change into the trades just a few years ago, and she's on the line to tell us a little bit more. Welcome to Blue Sky, Summer.
Hi there. Hi, everybody. Hi, ladies.
Summer, what were you doing before you got into the trades?
Well, before I got into trades, I actually spent my whole entire life working with the public in customer service and sales. And I did that up until about 5 years ago. And basically, my whole entire career journey was based around serving other people in like a service sense. And that just wasn't satisfying for me anymore.
So what drew you to carpentry and scaffolding then?
Honestly, money, because where I was at in my previous career, I wasn't really getting ahead and I wasn't feeling fulfilled. And when I finally got an opportunity to take some construction training, I caught on pretty quickly and it was a lot of fun for me. And the doors that opened and the support that I received from my community at Saskatchewan Institute of SIIT and whatever it is, and the OAWA, the Office to Advance Women Apprentices, and Vanessa, they all sort of helped support me along the way, and that was really great. And Erin, actually, who's on the program as well, she tutored me through my last session of technical training that I took, so support there was really great.
I didn't even know about all these connections. This is super great. I'm wondering, Summer, was going into the trade something that you'd ever considered before, though? Was it like a possibility for you, or was it something that you had never even really considered?
I had never considered it, actually. I had dated some men that were working in the trades, and my father was a tradesman, and basically what my perception of the trades was that women belonged in the office. Because my stepmom worked in my dad's office my whole life growing up, and I didn't realize it was an option for us. I didn't really realize that. And then when I was given that opportunity, I just went with it. And it's been a success so far, and I really enjoy it.
And what do your parents think now that you're working in a trade?
Oh, they're so proud of me. Unfortunately, my dad is not with us anymore, but my mother has always been very supporting. Whenever she can, she takes home any of my little projects, which is really great. And, she's just happy to see me be successful and, follow a great career path.
What is it that you like about it? What's your favorite thing about working in welding and scaffolding? Or carpentry, sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. My favorite part is learning new things. And working with the Carpenters Union, I do get to travel quite a bit for my work and being on the road, meeting a bunch of different people, learning new skills and different ways to accomplish my goals, I guess, and just different ways of doing the same thing and learning which way fits best for me. Just basically the community of carpenters and the supports around me.
I'm wondering, Summer, if you think that there's any unique perspectives or strengths maybe that you think that women can actually bring to fields like carpentry and scaffolding.
I'll speak sort of with the person that was first on the program, the rodeo princess. Or queen, I'm not really sure. Yeah, she was speaking about attention to detail. And I do find that women, I guess a blanket statement would be generally we do have a better eye for detail. And I feel like that gives women a bit of an advantage in that aspect.
Summer, what advice would you give to other women who are considering a career in the trades?
I would say don't give up, keep trying new things, and keep all your receipts. That's a really good advice that I can give. But keep trying new things, and if it doesn't work for you, there's plenty of other ways to get it done.
Summer, it's so nice to talk to you today. Thanks so much for your work and your time today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Summer Wynn is a carpenter and a scaffolder. She lives in Regina. I'm Candice Lipsky. You're listening to Blue Sky here on CBC Radio 1. That's 94.1 FM in Saskatoon, 102.5 FM in Regina, and 540 AM across the province. Today we are talking about women who work in the trades. We'd love to hear from you. There's still time to join the conversation. You can call us 1-800-716-2221, or you can email bluesky@cbc.ca. We do have a panel of lovely tradeswomen on the line with us right now, but we also did get a voice note that was sent to bluesky@cbc.ca, so let's give that a listen.
Hi, I'm Felicia Black, and I work for Alliance Energy. I am a Red Seal journeyman, and I got into this profession because I wanted something that was physically challenging as well as mentally challenging. A lot of what I do is calculations on every day-to-day project I have going.
Thank you very much for that note, Felicia. Felicia mentioned a few things there that she likes about the job, so I'd love to hear from all of you. What is it about the job that you love? Leah, let's start with you.
I love the variety and the challenge. So this morning before I got on the show, I was actually fixing a furnace, and I was just worried I wouldn't be here in time. But we got it. We ran and got parts, got the motor in, started the furnace, everything's working fine. My next call could be plumbing related or bathroom renovations and beautiful fixtures to look at. There's there's electrical components to plumbing service work. It's just such an interesting trade that you can't learn it all.
I'm guessing it might actually be pretty similar for a lot of the trades. That idea that no day is really looking the same. Vanessa, is that something for you too?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely my career, it was kind of neat just to see how, be right in the middle of the refinery here in Regina and see how the things go together and how all the other trades work together. And, when I was working through my career, just pushing myself to learn a new skill or get another certificate or advance myself. And welding is one of those things that's super rewarding. If it's done well, it looks really nice. It's fun to do, and I sign my name to every piece of pressure piping equipment that I've done. So it's kind of neat to go and see that and experience it.
And Erin, what do you love most?
I love the ability to build stuff. Basically, essentially, I could build a house from formwork to shingles, and all the cool places that it's taken me. Like, I built a hospital. I worked for Parks Canada. In the legislature in Sask Poly, Evraz. No, not everyone's been in there. It is wild. And the refinery and all. It's taken me so many cool places. It would be hard for me to work in an office all the time. And the pride. I'm proud that I can do this stuff.
And Erin, you touched a little earlier on this, and I know it might be a little bit taboo to ask this, but I am curious. You don't need to give any specifics, of course, but you mentioned the money. Is the money a draw still for you as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't know how single moms raise families on the incomes they, for typical female jobs, entry level, because you can get into a trade and within 4 years, without a lot of school, you can be making some good big bucks that you can buy a house and vehicle and all that stuff.
Yeah. Vanessa, is that something that you've thought about as well?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's when I was 19 years old when I had my son, so it came down to, okay, well, now I have somebody else to support, not just myself, and the trades really did that for me. Getting into the pressure piping with my union and starting my own welding rig business and things. And now I feel like I'm economically safe for myself. Like, I'm financially okay. And now it's my turn to give back. So,
Leah, you're nodding along too, hey?
Well, I like being economically safe and financially okay. And one of the other really great things is I don't have student loans. I never did, and some of our friends who have gone into nursing and things like that, you come out with a pretty big debt load at the end if you're not careful.
No doubt, even if you are careful, oftentimes, for sure. Yeah. And Vanessa, I know that you're the coordinator for the Office to Advance Women Apprentices. Can you tell us a little bit about that role?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as the coordinator for the province of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, I get to support women where they're at in the industry. So whether they're exploring the trades and trying to figure out, if this is the right path for them, offer them some resources to help guide them along the way. Whether they're in school or, signed up for apprenticeship, that kind of thing, or even as a journey person, those advancement careers, how can I help support them in their path to where they want to go? The trades have all kinds of opportunities for different avenues. You just have to know where to look, and it's nice to be able to guide them along the way.
What kind of support would you say are people most often in search of? Is it kind of that entry way, or is there something else that people are really looking for support on?
Yeah, there's a large focus of women that are wanting to know what's out there. They've heard good things through promotion and what the industry has to offer. So they're curious as to whether that's for them, how to get started, how to get their training. Employment connections is another really big one too. Just supporting them and supporting industry itself by being able to provide them women that have skills training or, are looking for some specific things. So, yeah.
I do want to go back to that 7% figure again. Fewer than 7% of jobs in the trades in Saskatchewan are currently held by women. I think it's fair to say that all of you would like to see that number increase. Leah, what do you think needs to change so that more women see trades as viable career options?
Well, I actually am I think I have a different point of view for women. I think it's young kids in general, both men and women.
Yeah.
Right now, we have a huge level of very skilled technicians, or not huge, I said quite the opposite, very little skilled tradespeople. And every year there's less and less. And then I think when you enter into the trades, it's actually kind of hard to get in if you have no skill, no pre-employment. So like that was a big one too. That's a great program. And then just thinking back to my own time in school and then going into service work, it wasn't something that was taught in school. You had to learn it on the job in the field. And I think that there could be a real growth in the way we're trained and how much time we spend in apprenticeships. Like it could be a longer program, maybe longer than the 2 months that we went to school every year. I was talking with a gentleman who created VR programs for nurses, and what he would do is create a way for nursing students to learn how to properly give a needle instead of actually using that material and going through on a dummy hand or training that way. And I was talking with one of the teachers from SAS, and they said they're bringing in this technology. And I think, man, that's an awesome thing, because there you have the ability to teach somebody in a safe environment and repeat. And I think most of us will say it's the repetitive work that's really helped to train us. And so I'd like to see it change from the school level and the way we're trained.
Yeah. Vanessa, you were just telling us a little bit about the work that you do at the office to advance women apprentices. What do you think needs to change so that more women or people in general, kids, see trades as a viable career option? I have to admit myself, like I'm very happy to be a journalist, but I never considered a trade even. So like, what needs to change?
Yeah, so I think that change happens deliberately, right? Like you have to put things in place to help change what's going on out there. So, having employers that are ready to bring on women, they understand their policies, their procedures, and how that affects women. And what affects women affects their employees as well. So really learning about that, creating opportunities. It's really hard for women to get into the trades without having that training. Quite often an employer just doesn't have the time to take them on to train them from that base level. So they do have to invest in themselves and get that schooling. So that can be problematic too, especially in an economy like this where money is tight and there's not a lot of extra when you're used to making a lower wage as well. So that's also something that could change. And you know what, tradespeople, they need to deliberately teach apprentices, right? Teach them not only about their trades, but all of the other things that go into life, that life-work balance, that managing finances. Just really make it your responsibility to create a better industry, and in that, creating a better workplace for everyone.
And Erin, I'll give you the last word, but we only have about 20 seconds. What's your pitch? Why should a woman consider a trade, or any person consider a trade?
You get all these cool skills that are transferable everywhere. And I think that what needs to change is the attitude towards females worldwide. We've come a long way. I guess in the 70s, women weren't allowed to have a credit card, but look where we are now. So yes, it's going to keep changing.
For sure. Erin, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Leah, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And Vanessa, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Our panel today was Erin Nordin, Leah Adelman, and Vanessa Miller. Thanks so much to those three and everyone else who joined the show today. That is all the time we have, but thanks so much for tuning in and joining in the conversation.